welcome.
Welcome to the show called The Island Shuffle. My name is Bean.
My name is James.
And together we are here to watch a random episode of Lost. Out of
Every
order.
single week.
Every freaking week we come back and we watch another episode of this damn-ass show.
Right until they're all gone, and there's 121 of them, so we'll be here a while.
We'll be here a while, but you know what? This is episode 51.
Uh-huh.
And that's a lot of Lost that we've watched.
That is quite a bit of Lost that we watched, so let us break it down for you.
Go on.
If you were to multiply 10.1 by 5...
Mm-hmm.
No, that's not right.
Isn't it?
10.2 by 5.
10.2 by 5. That's right. Maybe? Yes.
Then you would get to where we're at now.
That's exactly it. So if you're watching along at home and you're like just picking up, like you're just starting today, there's your first episode of Lost, and or the first episode of the Island Shuffle, and you want to catch up, just do that multiplication.
Do the multiplication that we solved,
and then it'll all make sense.
Yeah, it's sort of like you watch them. So that's the numbers. That's what the numbers are in the show Lost, and also that's what numbers mean to me.
That's what numbers mean to us.
They're a way for us to figure out the things in our lives and to quantify what we've been doing these past several years of our lives.
How many episodes of this podcast? 10.2 times 5.
How many kids do you have?
0.
How many dogs and cats have you seen on the street today?
The square root of 9.
3.
3.
You saw 3 dogs and cats.
Something around that. I wasn't really counting.
Well, that was my fault. That was a bad question.
Yeah.
You know why it was a bad question?
Why is that?
Because it wasn't about the show Lost.
It had nothing to do with the show Lost, which we're here to talk about.
Which is what we talk about on our show.
I bring up 51 episodes because you'd think at this point we would stop being surprised by the show Lost. You think at some point, we would be like,
right,
we've seen this before.
Yeah.
We've been down here before. And we're going into season 6. This is season 6, episode 7, Dr. Linus. And we're kind of like, okay, it's season 6. It'll be some boring ass bullshit.
Yeah.
It's still a bad episode. But
bad in the best way.
It's a good bad, I think.
It's a good bad. It's totally a good bad.
Mm-hmm.
It's beyond the point of saving. So it's like when your friend's car is going off a cliff and no one's in the car. No one's in the car. It's like rolling backwards.
Okay. Yes.
And then your friend like tries to stop it and they like grab onto the bumper, but it just grabs them further and it's slowly rolling backwards.
Yeah.
And then it goes off the side of the cliff.
Yeah.
And then you're like, well, now it's fun to watch. I'm not going to not enjoy watching a car fall off the side of a cliff just because there's like a loss to the entire thing.
That's fair. It's already like if it's already gone.
It's gone.
You may as well watch it smash and be cool.
Yeah, exactly. When else are you going to get to see that?
Exactly.
And that's what this episode sort of feels like to me. It's like
it's a car falling off a cliff.
It's a car falling off a cliff
Yeah.
and just that sick enjoyment that you get out of the disaster that is unfolding before your eyes.
Yes. That like, this is a once in a lifetime thing. This will be a story to tell.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
And man, oh man, do we have a story to tell you about this week's episode of Lost.
Where do you want to start, my friend? Because I feel like across the board there's a lot to unpack.
Yeah. Should we do, I guess, island stuff?
I think
first?
so, yeah. I think that'll be a quick and easy quick through. So we open up on Benjamin Linus, who is the focus of today's episode. He's running through the woods. He catches up with the crew. And the crew, in this instance, is like Sun, Miles, Frank, the pilot, and someone named Ilana.
Oh yeah.
Who's there?
I have never met this person before, but they are a main character now.
They are here and they are important in this episode. So I think that's that full crew. So that full crew is there and Ben is like, we can't go to the temple because everybody's dead at the temple. And Saeed killed a bunch of people too. It's all a mess.
Everyone is dead.
It's a whole mess. And Ilana's like, did they kill Jacob? And Ben kind of like hesitates and goes, "Yeah, they killed him. Yeah, they killed.
They killed Jacob.
I certainly didn't kill no Jacob."
But we find out later.
Well, how it happens is.
Oh yeah, Alana's like, I have Jacob's ashes.
I'm going to give them to Miles, who can talk to corpses.
Yeah.
So a lot happening right out the gate.
Yeah, a lot of. I mean, I won't say I didn't see it coming.
Yeah.
We all knew that the ashes were going to come out and that Miles was going to talk to the ashes and they would discover that Ben had killed Jacob. But it's been done before. I'll just say that.
Yeah, all the pieces are there, so it's kind of on us for not adding that up.
Exactly. I think that they were sort of hinting at that scenes in season 1, really, because the first night they lit a fire, and it's the whole ashes thing coming back, ashes to ashes, dust to dust, Miles.
Yeah, it all comes down to Miles talking to the ashes. And what do the ashes say to Miles? Well, they say,
Snape killed Dumbledore.
Ben killed. They dish out some spoilers.
Miles was pissed.
Miles was very pissed. And you know what? So was I. I'm a big Potterhead, and I wanted to. I was waiting until tomorrow to read that book.
Why must you do this to me?
This is why the show's bad, because it spoils very old spoilers for me.
Yeah.
So Ben kind of does the classic, like, you're going to believe this guy over me, a known murderer? Yeah. And everybody's kind of like, yeah, that's the thing. Yeah. So the plan for this crew, because they were going to go to the temple, but everyone's dead. They say, let's go to the beach. Let's go to where that old busted up camp is. And try to just, like, hang out, I guess.
Take it from there.
And so they go there, and Ben's kind of dicking around. Everybody's kind of, like, picking up the pieces of, like, all the, like, wrecked campsites, trying to build together just, like, a shelter, build a fire. There's no real, like, sense of direction from this.
No one knows what's going on.
Everybody's just kind of doing their best. Until... Miles is looking through Sawyer's old magazines. Sees a magazine called like Big Booty Babes or something like that.
It's a butt-themed magazine.
Yes, and Ben looks at it and goes, "Oh, brother!" And then Alana comes up at gunpoint.
Gun to Ben's neck,
and says, "Come with me right now." Ties Ben to a tree. Handcuffs Ben's leg to a tree, gives him a shovel, and says, "Dig your own grave now."
And he does begin digging his own grave.
He sure does.
It's chill. It's nice.
It's, exercise in the hot sun.
It's nice contrast to the earlier scene of a joke about butts.
Yeah, it's like you see a funny butt magazine. You go, wow, a funny horny.
Yeah, and funny, horny, really sexy butts.
Really sexy butt.
Fucking sexy ass butts.
Some real, a real sexy ass butt.
Yeah.
And
really cool.
It's what my favorite part of that scene is when Ben looks at it and goes, Franks walks by and says, "Super cool magazine, dude."
Where'd you get that? I used to be a subscriber.
I used to subscribe to Big Booty Butts, and I never thought I'd see the day I'd see another copy of it.
Can I have that?
Can I please have that magazine? That
I submitted my butt so many times.
That
they said, "Frank, we'd be more than happy to put your butt in here if you just stop wearing that dirty shirt in every photo. Your shirt is so disgusting.
Your shirt is rancid and it's distracting us from your perfect, flawless, chiseled abs.
Your undoubtedly incredible butt."
That doesn't happen, sadly. But what does happen is Frank comes by and says, "I'm a pilot still." He does say, "I was supposed to fly Flight 815. Did you know?"
He drops that bombshell.
He drops that on us, and it doesn't. And he's just like, "Well, I overslept. What are you gonna do? I made it here anyway."
These are my lines for the episode.
This is to remind you that I'm here and a pilot.
Yeah.
So Ben's digging his own grave. He's captive. Ilana's pissed. He's mad at him for killing Jacob. And this whole bit is him trying to Ben trying to weasel his way out of it. He like pleads with Alana for his life and says like throws Miles under the bus. Does the classic like you're gonna trust that guy bit. Miles comes over with a leaf full of bananas and says, "Here's all the food we got. If you want some, here it is." And Miles says, Ben says, "Hey, if you free me right now, I have a vast network of resources off the island, and once I get off of the island, I can get you in on it.
I'll give you $3.2 million. It's like, bump it up to 3.28, and you got yourself a deal. And Ben was like, no, I can't do that.
Such a weird, specific, like the exact amount of that's his whole net worth.
Yeah.
Exactly 3.2 million. It's such a weird number to land
I know
on.
you got 3.6, Linus. You're holding out on me. I want it all.
In a good moment, Miles says, "There's actually bodies over there buried with diamonds, so I don't need your money. Have fun digging your own grave. I don't really give a shit."
Later, Dad.
Later. And
later, skater.
Later, skater. Oh, he also says, like, did you know that when Jacob died, he felt bad?
Oh, yeah.
Or something. I know that because I can talk to the dead. And
I was hanging out with his ashes earlier.
Yeah.
What a great convo.
I love that guy's ashes, dude.
Smoked some weed.
Smoked some weed with his ashes.
With his ashes. Sprinkle a little of my ashes in there. You'll get a massive buzz off this fat doobie.
Of this fat doobie that has the ashes of a god in it.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Good times.
Good times with Miles, dude. The penultimate scene of the Ben digging his own grave arc, which is like a lot.
I like that arc. It's crazy. He digs his grave for like most of the episode.
Most of the episode is just him digging a grave, and then Alana like shoots at his foot and says, "Dig better," and Ben just is like, "Fuck me, I guess."
It's like the movie Holes.
It's a lot like the movie Holes, in the sense that, of course, young Shia LaBeouf is there.
Yeah, he's there, like even Stevens era Shia LaBeouf.
He walks up to Ben and says, "You're doing a bad job with this hole, buddy," and then walks away. And it's like a funny Shia LaBeouf.
It's really cool, yeah.
It is really cool.
We do like that.
I like when that happens in the show. So the penultimate scene is Locke shows up to Ben. Of course, this is not Locke, but the smoke monster impersonating Locke's form. And he says, "What are you doing? You look like a dipshit down in that hole. What are you doing?" And Ben's like, "I'm digging my own grave because you talked me into killing Jacob."
Poor baby Linus kept digging a hole.
Atoning for his murder of a god.
Someone's never murdered a god before.
Someone's never murdered a god before, is what Locke says to him. And Locke says, don't blame me for what you did. And, like, fair, I guess. But,
I guess.
Locke ends up saying, like, hey, I'll free you. And goes snap and the cuff is off somehow. He's magic, I guess. Yeah. And he says, you know what?
I guess he has a way with locks.
Oh. Shit.
He picked the lock.
He picks the lock because he's Locke, baby.
Because he's Locke. He is the lock, yeah.
And he says, look, there's a rifle this way in the woods and a boat to the smaller island where I'm hanging out. Come hang out with me. And Ben looks at Alana, who is staring at Ben, and just fucking books it. Doesn't, like, wait a second. Doesn't hesitate. Just guns it into the woods.
He's not like, I'll wait until she turns her head.
She just, like, gives her.
And then she does a really bad job. She's like, because her plan was to kill him the whole time.
Yeah.
He dug most of his own grave. Then he starts to run away, and she's like, I'm going to chase after him. But she could just shoot him.
That's true.
She has several opportunities where there's a clear sight line.
The entire, like, dig your own grave thing is so bizarre.
Yeah, it's so weird.
I don't know why that would be, like, I understand you're pissed at him for killing Jacob. I don't know why this is better than just shooting him, I guess.
Yeah, then you don't have to dig a grave.
I guess you save yourself the effort.
Yeah.
But, like, wow.
It's like a sick pleasure thing. It's sort of cool.
It's kind of like the only thing we know about Alana is that she is this way, I guess.
Yeah.
She's the most twisted character on Lost.
She's a twisted sister.
Mm-hmm. The most twisted of all the sisters. So, Ben makes it to the rifle.
Yeah.
Aims it at Alana, says, drop it, and gives a big sad monologue about how all he ever really cared about was power. And, but when he watched his daughter die in front of him, that's all, you know.
It felt bad.
It felt bad to watch his daughter die in front of him.
And that's why I killed Jacob.
That's why he killed Jacob, and that felt bad too, and he feel bad. It's not a well-written monologue, but it's pretty well acted.
He does what he can.
He does a lot of faces. He does a lot of lip trembling. He's, you know, and he ends it by saying, like, the reason I'm going to Locke right now is because nobody else will have me. Because I'm a
poor little murderer.
I'm a mass murderer, and nobody.
I'm a monster.
And now I gotta deal with the consequences of my grievous sins.
You don't want to hang out with me because I keep killing the people you're close to. Oh.
Yeah, there's so many. There's so many that are like little scenes in this episode where like Ben like is like anything I can do to help and everybody's just kind of like giving him the cold shoulder.
Yeah.
Like the worst thing about this, other than having to dig your own grave, is how awkward it is to have to hang around with the people you've dedicated your life to tormenting.
Totally. I'm not into that.
No.
Well, excuse me.
Yeah.
If I murdered all your friends and made your life a living hell.
Excuse me
but be my friend.
Why won't you be my friend?
No one trusts me. This sucks.
This is a bummer. I'm going to hang out with the murderous smoke monster.
The snake.
But in a big character moment for Ben, Ilana says, all right, I'll have you if you'll, you know... Doesn't give an if. He's just kind of so moved by Ben being so pathetic that that he's just like, you can hang out with us if you want. And Ben, instead of going with Locke, comes back to the camp and hangs out there.
It's like if you were in middle school and there was this table that you and your friends like to hang out at, and for 4 straight years a kid came every day and lit the table on fire. And then one day he was like, can I sit at your table? And then for some reason they're like, yeah, sure.
Sure. I mean, I get what they're going for, but it's so like...
It's crazy. He should just be exiled. Like
he should be exiled. Locke shouldn't even take him in.
No, exactly.
He should just live in the woods.
Drown. Like
yeah.
he this character has just done so much bad that I don't think he deserves redemption.
That's absolutely it. This is supposed to be like the start of his redemption, and it doesn't feel earned at all.
No.
That being said, I do love how much of the episode is him trying to like do the classic like, I've always got a plan. I'm going to get out of this. And just not even getting like his foot in the door with anybody. Totally. Everybody's just like, no, fuck you, idiot.
No, yeah. Enjoy digging your grave, and then we will murder you.
Yeah. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. That's not bad, and I like to see it, to be honest.
Oh, it's really good.
Another moment from this plot line that I want to highlight is when... oh, gosh. Miles is having that conversation. Ben proposes money. And Miles says, why the heck would I take your money when there's these two... He says
diamond people.
He says jabronis explicitly.
Does he say jabronis?
He says there's these 2 jabronis named Nikki and Paolo buried here with like 8 million in diamonds. I'm just going to dig that up instead. I like the I like that... and then at the end of the episode, we see him with the diamonds.
He has the diamonds. He literally dug up graves.
Dug up a grave for a diamond.
It's cool, and he's like smiling with it. And it's like he would have just been dealing with like these 4-year-old bodies.
And just
These bodies that traveled through time.
I think that's just a good Miles moment of robbing Nikki and Paolo of their diamonds.
Yeah, that's totally. He robs a grave.
That's just good. And he does it off screen.
Yeah,
we don't even
he does
see
it off screen.
Oh, it's good.
It's just alluded to. It's funny. And then
there's another on-island plot.
Yeah.
Is there anything else in this plot that we need to cover?
No,
I think
that's it.
Okay. The other on-island plot is Hurley and Jack strolling through the jungle.
They wake up
and
they're like, we gotta keep going.
Classic Lost plot is you gotta keep on going through the jungle.
I think it was this way.
Maybe it was this way.
It was this way.
And then Ricky comes through. Oh, immortal Ricky comes through and says, "You're both wrong, bozos. It's this way." And then turns out Ricky was leading them to the Black Rock.
The ship.
The slave ship that he came in on, in fact, all those years ago. And it's full of dynamite. And Ricky walks up to the thing and says, "I didn't take you to the temple. I lied. I'm coming here. Why? To die."
Also, everyone at the temple is dead.
By the way. Ricky basically says he's fucking with the dynamite. Hurley's like, "Don't do that." And Ricky's like, "I want to die, man." Which is a side of Ricky we've never seen before. Ricky
all he wants to do in this episode is die.
Ricky Very Unhinged is a flavor of Ricky I could get used to.
Ricky, you so fine. You so fine, you blow up. Ricky.
Ricky. Ricky basically explains that I can't kill myself because I was touched by Jacob. But Jack, one of you, or Hurley, you can light this fuse and then get away, and then I can just die in peace, and then that'll be that. Also, the reason I want to die is because I served Jacob for my whole life, and now he's dead, and my whole life is meaningless now.
Yeah, exactly. This is garbage, and I'm mad.
Yeah, which, fair.
Oh, man, my God is dead, and I spent 400 years serving him, and now I just want to die.
Honestly, big mood.
I get it. Yeah, me and the same. This is maybe the one thing that makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, yeah, I'm ready to die.
Yeah,
it's 400 years.
That's a lot of time to spend here on this island serving a shitty man.
A very shitty man.
A shitty man who spent millennia before that, it's implied, killing many more people because he refused to intervene.
Oh, yeah.
This man sucks, and he hadn't even thought about it till you even said it.
Fucking idiot.
Fucking bozo. Anyways, Ricky is ready to die. Jack lights the fuse and is like, "Okay." He has a really sick line where Hurley's like, "You're not really gonna do it," and Jack is like, "If he wants to die, who are we to stand in his way?"
That is literally it. And it's like, I love that logic followed by. He literally does say, if he wants to die, how are we going to stop him?
Mm-hmm.
But it's I mean, you're still lighting the fuse.
Yeah, you're
it's not like you're not doing anything.
Yeah, it's not like you're passively letting him die.
Yeah.
You're actively killing him.
Yeah, exactly.
You gotta, come correct, Jack.
Yeah, exactly. At least make the one line that you say properly address the situation at hand.
But then he lights the fuse, and then he sits with Ricky, and he says, "All right, let's talk, because guess what? I bet that if I sit here, I won't blow up either, because I bet that I just found out that Jacob's been watching me my whole life, and so I bet that I can't kill myself either. So I'm going to sit here, and you're going to sit there, and we're going to have a talk about how things are going." And Ricky's like, "No, you can get out of here. Get out of here. I want to die alone. And Jack's just bracing for impact. It's a scene.
He's into it.
I
like it.
He too is ready to die, I guess.
Yeah, he's like, whatever happens.
And then sure enough, the fuse goes out before it hits the thing. We get a very tense montage of cut to the fuse, cut to Ricky, cut to Jack looking calm, and cut, and the fuse dies out.
Right before it hits the dynamite, saving everyone in the boat.
And Jack chuckles and says, "Want to try another stick, buddy?" And Ricky's like, fine, you got me. And I forget how that ends, kind of. I think they're just
leave.
They're just
then
kind of. They're just kind of like.
And then they go to the beach after where everyone is at, and then they hug.
Yeah, that's true. We get the episode ends with a montage of Hurley, Jack, and Richard reuniting with the crew of Sun. Like, Sun runs up to Hurley, gives him a big
Sun and Hurley,
hug.
it's like they're long-lost lovers that had never seen each other in years. It's like the music is playing. They're on the beach, slow motion, running up, and super happy.
Yeah, and, like, Jack, I think, like, Hurley also hugs Miles. Jack is shaking everyone's hand. Ricky's there. And then we get a zoom in on Ben, who's also there, and he's all on his lonesome, and it's awkward. And he's
hanging out in the awning.
Also, Jack shakes Ilana's hand, and like, who?
Yeah,
like Jack has.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, I guess. Like,
I too tried to murder Ben many times.
Yeah, we have a lot in common.
We have a Locke in common.
We have a
John Locke.
We have a John Locke in John Common.
Oh.
And then the episode ends with a stinger. We zoom out from the beach and we see a little plastic periscope poke out.
The submarine, baby.
There's a submarine on its way, and who's on that submarine?
Charles Whitmore.
Oh my God!
No, not Charles Whitmore. That rich man that loves the island and wants to kill it or something.
He wants to kill the island, except now he wants to save it or something.
You know that man who we have no idea what his intentions are.
You know that incredibly well-defined character.
Yeah, exactly.
Who's just whatever the show needs it to be at any given moment. He's here now. And
that's it.
That's it. That's the
and
episode.
The lost letters come.
That's a lot, isn't it?
That is a lot.
Nothing really happens.
Yeah.
Except that it's all fucking wacky.
That's the thing. I don't feel like we get closer to any sort of conclusion. Events take place.
And Ben definitely digs his own grave for a while.
Yeah, it's cool.
And then
Ricky
announces his plans to die and tries to do it. And then Jack calls his bluff.
He calls
somehow.
his bluff. He's like, dials the number. He's like, "Hey, Bluff, how are you doing?"
And Ricky answers and says, "Damn it, you got me.
Didn't think you'd call. Thought you'd text my bluff."
Whoa, we like to tell jokes on this podcast.
Joke time.
It's joke time. Speaking of jokes, want to talk about the fucking other part of this episode?
Sideways.
So in an alternate world where 815 never crashes on the island and it lands safe and sound in LA, everything's a little different in this wacky alternate timeline.
Just a little different.
Just a little. Because, Sawyer, for instance, once a criminal, now he's a cop. Kate, once a fugitive, still a fugitive.
That one hasn't changed a smidge.
Claire,
once a pregnant lady trying to get a child adopted in L.A.
Now it's
still a pregnant lady trying to get a child adopted in L.A.
Yes, still the same.
Jack,
once a doctor, still a doctor.
Locke, once in a wheelchair, still in a wheelchair.
And of course, Benjamin Linus, once a insane, murdering, power-hungry Machiavellian figure of despair. Now is a high school teacher.
He's now a high school teacher, and he has a PhD that he is really clinging on to as his last sense of self-worth.
He's very oh my God, there's so much to unpack about this. He's teaching class, and the principal comes in and says, "Hey, you're on detention duty, Mr. Linus." And Ben's like, "It's Dr. I'm a doctor, actually."
He's like, "I don't care.
I don't give a shit. You're on detention duty."
What about history club?
Those kids need me. And the principal's just like, fuck your kids.
Yeah.
Fuck your kids and fuck you.
You're watching the delinquents, loser.
You're watching them. God damn, there's a lot to unpack about this. I just want to kind of keep barreling through it.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
Ben is at home tending to his sick dad.
Oh, yes. His very sick dad.
His incredibly sick dad. He takes a tub of oxygen or something off, replaces it, and his dad reminisces about how, Imagine how different our lives would have been if we'd have stayed on that island instead of leaving it. And, think...
Okay.
And, okay, I guess if you'd have stayed, Ben would have killed a god among other people.
Yeah, exactly.
I guess. And Ben's griping about his job and having to do detention. But who comes knocking at the door? But a young Alex Rousseau.
And man, oh man.
Remember when Benjamin Linus kidnapped a baby and then raised it as his own?
This is that kid.
This is that kid, but now she's a student of Dr. Linus's.
She is a high school student now, even though she's like 30 now.
Mm-hmm. She's playing a high school student, even though she's definitely old. And she comes up like, what the heck happened to history club? I was so worried and upset. How am I going to pass my test?
My big test.
I
need to get into Yale.
And teacher Benjamin says, okay, we'll have a study session tomorrow bright and early at 7 a.m. So they head to the school library. They're hashing out stuff about the East India Trading Company.
We missed an important thing.
Oh, what did we miss?
So after Ben gets put on detention duty and he's told that history club won't happen, he's sitting in the staff lounge with this goofy fucking teacher.
You know who this goofy fucking teacher is, eh? He's the same guy who was yelling about monsoon season a few episodes ago.
So with Monsoon Jim.
Jim, who's now also a teacher at this school. And they're both griping. They're saying, I got to work detention duty. He's saying, my lab equipment's outdated. Jeez.
Ben's like, the principal doesn't care. He doesn't care about anyone.
He doesn't care about the most important thing, and that's the kids, the children. And a voice pipes up, says, hey, sounds like you should be the principal. And who is it but motherfucking John Locke, baby?
Which is insane because he wasn't in a wheelchair.
He was.
Was he?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't see his wheelchair.
I don't know if we see it, but he is in a wheelchair.
He's in a wheelchair. Okay, good. They've got that going for them.
Yep. He's still in a wheelchair. I keep saying there's so much.
Yeah.
This whole arc feels like what the Sideways stuff should be.
Yeah, I agree.
It should
be off the wall, absurd, ridiculous shit.
It should be alternate universe where everyone's teaching in a high school.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what it should be.
Where it's all nuts, not where like one thing has changed.
Yeah, not where like Jack is still a doctor, but
why is Kate still a murderer?
Kate's still a murderer, but she feels a little more bad about it or something. Like
nothing is different about the Kate.
Nothing is different about Kate. Nothing is different about Claire. One thing is different about Sawyer, and it's like, that's fine. That's not so bad. It should have all been like this. It should have been all off-the-wall shit. Jack should be a vigilante, as far as I'm concerned.
I agree, too.
Like,
or like a fucking tennis player or something.
Yes! I want an alternate world where they're like, where they are all like, it's exactly the same, except they all call cars like ball sack or something like that. Driving my ball sack to work.
Oh, I just ate so many glortons. I feel awful. The other person's like, I haven't eaten in 9 months. And then the first person's like, yeah. You have to eat once every 10 months, though, or else you'll die.
That's how eating works in this upside down world.
Okay, I'll have my glortons next month then. And then they jump off the bridge and swim into the ocean and crawl into their little caves and then it zooms out and their caves are inside a cow's udder sack.
And that's
the world.
That's the world now. That's what happens when 815 lands.
Yeah.
That's why it had to crash.
Exactly. Glortons. You want to go to Tim Glortons and get some of those little doughy balls that they sell?
Drive your ball sack right through the drive-thru.
Yes. Yes.
So this is as wacky as it gets. Is this alternate universe where Linus is just a high school teacher who can't catch a break?
Yeah.
And it's like, that's fun. That's goofy.
That's fine. Yeah.
Locke says, you should be a substitute. You shouldn't be a substitute teacher. You should be the principal. You really care about the students.
You're the best one.
You're the best one, it seems like. And I'd support you all the whole way. So anyways, cut to study session. They're racking their brains about East India and all the rest.
Uh-huh.
And Alex is stressing out about this test, and Ben's like, it's just a test.
Don't worry, Alex.
Don't worry.
You got this. You're a bright kid.
You're a bright kid. And Alex is like, well, all that matters is getting a recommendation letter. Really. And the only person who's been to Yale. The only person who's been to Yale is that pervert principal.
And Ben's like, pervert?
A pervert.
Did you say he's a pervert?
Did you say he's a
This is my opportunity. He's a pervert.
Ooh, he's a pervert, you say.
No,
Tell me more.
No, I don't want to talk about it.
And Ben says, your secret's safe with me. Trust me. I'm a teacher.
And Alex's face lights up, and she moves over to him, and she's like, well, one time I got sick, so I went to the nurse's office and slept because that's a thing, I guess.
That's what you do in the nurse's office. You go to take a nap.
And then I woke up, and it was after school, and in the room beside me, Principal Man was doing it with the nurse.
Right there in the nurse's office.
Isn't that gross?
Isn't that disgusting? And Ben says, that is disgusting. Well, back to studying. And,
okay.
And then he makes a proposal to Monsoon Jim. And he walks up to Monsoon Jim and says, hey, you're a master hacker, right?
And Monsoon Jim literally replies, you wouldn't be talking to me if you didn't already know that I was.
This episode rules.
A really cool guy. Yeah, this is awesome.
Really just classic, oh yeah, of course, this one guy who spends one moment rambling about a monsoon. He also has an alternate life where he too is a science teacher / master hacker.
And Ben is like, I need you to hack an email of the nurse because I think her and the principal are getting down and dirty in the school.
And Monsoon Jim's no dunce. He puts 2 and 2 together and says, you're making a play and I want in. And you know what? If you're gonna go for his job, then I want a parking space.
The one beside the oak tree, not under it, beside it.
I'm telling you, I'm gonna commit a crime against my boss and risk my livelihood just so I can get a parking space.
I'm tired of walking the extra 10 feet.
I'm sick of it. I don't know why parking spaces are always a motivator.
Everyone loves parking spaces all the time, and it's like, how big can that fucking parking lot be?
Truly.
At your public school. It might be pretty big, but it's like 30 seconds of walking every single day.
God.
In California.
Yeah.
It's not like you're like minus 40 in northern Alberta.
That's true. Maybe what should have been different is they land in Edmonton instead of LA.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And then they get out, and then a camel takes their passports, and they're like, welcome to the Ukraine. And then Kate is like, I can finally get my surgery done. Someone needs to take this murder out of my heart. And then Jack is the doctor because nothing can change too much.
Nothing can change too much.
He's like, scalpel, and he's like, oh yeah, you had a lot of murder in there, but we got it out.
Alberta might get annexed by the Ukraine, but Jack better still be a doctor.
Jack is still a doctor.
So Ben makes his play.
Yeah.
He walks up to the principal and he hands him the emails and he says, school board's not gonna like this, huh? Here's what you're gonna do. Listen close and listen fast. Here's what it is. You're gonna resign. I don't care how you resign, but you're gonna resign and you're gonna recommend that I take your place. And that's how it's gonna be, and it's your move, Buster. And the principal says, you know what? Fucking creepo banana bozo.
Yeah.
Here's my counter proposal. You go through with your crazy little thing, fine. But you know who won't get a glowing recommendation? In fact, will get the opposite. I will ruin her career. I will ruin Alex Rousseau's future if you go through with this. Which, how do you, I'm imagining that.
I love it. I love that idea.
Yeah. Like the idea.
Disgraced principal sends message to Yale of like, the student sucks, and they're like, well, of course we'll believe the man that got an undergrad here 40 years ago and just had a sex scandal.
Yeah, you know me, the recently disgraced principal.
You know the man that was publicly shamed on Tuesday. Well, I'm here to tank a young girl's academic career. And they're like, sounds good to me.
Well, who are we going to believe?
Her transcripts that say she's a straight A student?
Or the perverted principal, the canonically perverted principal. Boy. So, Benjamin Linus ultimately doesn't go through with this scheme. Because in this world, he doesn't care about power. He cares about Alex.
Yeah, he cares about helping people.
Yeah. And so he, goes into the office, and Alex is there to say, wow, what a glowing recommendation
it
she
was
raved
incredible.
me. And the principal walks in and he says, get the hell out of my office. And that's it. Principal Monsoon Jim walks up and says, you didn't go through with it, did ya? You old bozo, and that's it.
That's it. End of episode.
End of episode.
So,
what
did we learn?
I don't know what we learned, but I had a lot of fun on the way,
Yeah,
though.
the writers were just given free reign, and they took it.
They finally took it.
Oh my god!
It took them
ridiculous thing.
It took them 7 episodes, but they finally decided, oh, we can do whatever
we want.
Let's make this major antagonist a principal and just have some fun with that.
Yeah. It was absurd.
God, it was ridiculous in all the correct ways.
Yeah, it's so bad it's good.
Yeah, exactly. It was a fun ride. I like again, this is you can see where I can see where this could be fun, goofy fucking if they had committed more to this kind of storyline in the alternate things, it could have been fun instead of just what it is.
Yeah, totally.
It's ridiculous. But yeah, that was one of the more fun season 6 episodes we've had in a while, and so I enjoyed it.
I enjoyed it too. I thought it was as good as season 6 gets, essentially.
Exactly. Yeah, more or less. What do you say we roll up a next episode?
That sounds good to me. I'm gonna go to random.org.
Mm-hmm.
Which is a random number generator. Really good. If you need to pick numbers at random, I recommend them wholeheartedly.
Ooh, cool.
I did 1 to 121, and my result that I got from random.org was 48.
48? 48. Well, that's a new episode. That is Season 2, Episode 23. Live Together, Die Alone, Part 1.
Part 1. We saw Part 2,
We've seen Part 2. Finally, we get to
watch Part 1.
Why do you say we watch Part 1?
That sounds fun. I bet it'll be good TV.
I hope so. When we watch this show, we can only hope for a good TV.
We don't often get it.
Thanks for listening. I've been Bean.
I've been James.
You can follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/The Island Shuffle. You can follow us on Twitter at Island Shuffle. And that's us. And I suppose that's it. So, like we say at the end of every episode, get lost. Save him. Help him. He had too many glortons.